clock isn't only going in one direction. Time flows backwards too. The past can also be our future. Yet, what if this isn't just an anomaly, but the current state? On a new journey, we seek to find out. We are touring France to explore a desolate future that already exists today. Long forgotten time capsules contain the past, unspoiled and unseen. But they also show what is yet to come. We reveal these hidden worlds and demonstrate that the end is never really the end. It's just a start. Join us in traveling time. We set out on this journey to break the death loop that dooms us to repeat the past over and over again. Let's do this together. It's time for a new future to start. But before we start, a word from our sponsor, which is you. We get most of our funds from crowdfunding at Patreon, so you guys make these adventures possible in the first place. Thanks a lot. Our journey starts in the very south of the country. We spend our first night in a big hotel. It's a spacious property with enough rooms to host more than 200 visitors. In fact, it's also a conference center with several meeting rooms and modern equipment. So it's perfect for business trips. And that's basically exactly what we are doing too. But there aren't many other guests around. Because after all, it's still a global pandemic. Not exactly the best time for catering and hotel industry. Therefore, at least the nicest room was still available when the four of us arrived the day before. All jokes aside, we did this road trip in the winter of 2021. At that point, the hotel had already been abandoned for a decade. For us, this was just a stopover on our way to the first main destination. But traveling the country at that particular period of time was challenging. Especially after dark.
Ja, das Problem ist, dass hier in Frankreich eine nächtliche Ausgangssperre ausgerufen wurde. Das wurde gemacht, um die Ausbreitung von Covid einzudämmen. Das bedeutet, von 6 Uhr abends bis 6 Uhr morgens darf man sein Haus nicht verlassen. Das ist jetzt natürlich ein Problem für uns, wenn wir hier campen wollen. Dann dürfen wir uns als Recht nicht erwischen lassen, weil das wird nämlich mit hohem Bußgeld geahndet. Und wir sind zu viert, das bedeutet, wenn man erwischt wird, dann müssen wir direkt 500 € bezahlen.
Und das Ganze hat natürlich auch irgendwie einen moralischen Aspekt. Also wir sind uns bewusst, dass die Ausgangssperre schon zu einem guten Zweck existiert, aber wir sind halt der Meinung, dass wenn wir in einem Ort sind, wo sonst niemand ist und genau in derselben Gruppe, wie wir sonst auch unterwegs sind, einfach hier zelten, dann macht das effektiv keinen großen Unterschied. Wir können natürlich trotzdem verstehen, dass es für manche Leute vielleicht ein bisschen problematisch ist.
Our luggage is packed and we are checking out. For us, the days are now shorter than ever before. So we need to hurry up in order to have enough sunlight while exploring. location we're heading to today was a tip from Toby. He went there some years back and discovered valuable artistic treasures just left to rot. It's said they would preserve the past. Located in the rural countryside and surrounded by vineyards, a once noble estate crumbles and decays. Long lost, but it's getting new attention in these past few years. This is the stately manor. Perched on a small hill, the neglected property has a colorful history, dating back to the Middle Ages. At one point, it was given to a crusader. But when he died in the Holy Land, the estate passed through the ownership of many different families. In the course of history, the home was reconstructed and extended many times. And yet, it's the smaller, adjacent building that attracts us more, with a rather curious story and remnants of inestimable value. We are already on the premises. The park is overgrown and wild. The structures are falling apart. It's in private ownership today, but no one maintains the historical site. This, for example, is said to be part of the original building. So it's many hundreds of years old. There's a lot to discover in the lavish garden. There used to be waterfalls, and even caves were built. But wherever you go, it appears doomed already. Let's hope this one is still in good shape. That's the building we want to explore.
Als ich das letzte Mal vor 2 Jahren hier war, da war das auf jeden Fall noch nicht so. Da war ja einfach alles offen und nur dieser Zaun. Ich bin mal gespannt, ob wir noch reinkommen und ob noch was von den Kunstschätzen da ist. Ich hätte mein Handy rausnehmen sollen.
You wouldn't think that something like that just gets abandoned. The walls are full of historical artifacts from bygone times. It's everywhere. This is a private collection in the scale and quality of a museum. All of it presented in a cloistered courtyard completely made of marble, with 3 dozen arcs in total. And each pillar is richly ornamented. All of them are different. They show animals and all sorts of other creatures. Once, the cloister was characterized by elegance, abundance, and pure value. But the splendor is disappearing, and so is stability after years of neglect. Additional pillars became necessary so the works of art don't get buried and their stories don't fade away. Most art pieces here date back to ancient Europe and Egypt. Some might be replicas, some are originals. We have no idea how to tell the difference. But what we know is that a lot of it was already taken, probably by raiders. They broke out parts and even stole entire pieces of workmanship. This building is under monumental protection, so the owner needed to take care that the structure wouldn't collapse, at least not anytime soon. But we are puzzled why he doesn't take care of the precious artwork too. But maybe they are just peanuts compared to his fortune. Guys, it's France. Of course, there needed to be a chapel too. We don't know how long ago the estate became abandoned, but there's already huge amounts of damage everywhere. Not only in this part of the property, but at least here a provisional roof was installed to slow down decay. This place has an interesting story. Originally, the cloister was constructed in the 14th century, but 100 kilometers away from here. In the mid-1800s, a French writer owned this manor house and the surrounding lands. In an act of pure decadence, he bought the cloister, let it be dismantled, and the components transported to his chateau park by a dozen carts carried by yokes of oxen. It took several years to rebuild the site. What he added was this light-flooded atrium, the skylight carried by fancy columns. It was the poet's writing room. All the art here and in the cloistered courtyard probably served as a source of inspiration for his scripts. There's also an orangery. That's the part of the building where we entered and now leave. Only dehydrated plants remain. There are no orange trees anyway. These were originally in the big ceramic pots that are now spread in the garden. The building we just explored is only a small part of the estate. There is still the big mansion left and also more houses. But renovations already started over here. Better not get too close so we don't get caught. But for sure we will try to peek into the main building before we take off.
Soll ich probieren, ob offen ist?
Ja.
Ist das der Eingang gewesen?
Ja, hier sind wir das letzte Mal rein. Und hier dahinter ist auch das Highlight vom ganzen Gebäude. Jetzt nochmal Laberei. Und? Die ist nicht abgeschlossen.
Aber damit rechnet man noch nicht.
Das ist nicht sonderlich stabil. Vielleicht alle einzeln holen müssen. Ja, okay. The palace is empty, and parts of it are liable to collapse. When it was abandoned, all of the furniture was removed, so there isn't much to see anymore. All that was left behind is a building site. Apparently, they wanted to refurbish the manor, but stopped years ago. We don't know why it's on hold, probably because it's ridiculously costly. Weirdly, there is one big room that stayed completely untouched by the failed renovation works.
Wenn ich mich richtig erinnere, dann ist gleich da drüben das Highlight. Und zwar eine Bibliothek, wo noch sehr viele Bücher vorhanden sind.
Ist auf jeden Fall sehr, sehr, sehr düster.
Da können wir auch Hilfe schaffen.
Ist das Fenster, wo wir davor standen?
Nee, das war das daneben.
At one point, these bookshelves were filled all the way to the top. But there is only a fractional part left that hasn't been taken away from this library. 2 years ago, much more was still here, as you can see in Toby's photos. The books remaining are very old, with a huge variety of covered topics.
Das muss der erste Krimi der Welt sein.
Some of these haven't been read in ages, but being left behind and abandoned badly affected these books.
Das war schon mal nass geworden.
Many of them are irretrievably lost.
Ich habe jetzt die letzten 10, 15 Minuten in diesem Buch hier rumgeblättert. Wenn ich es richtig verstanden habe, heißt es Illustrationen aus 2 Welten. Aber es sieht so aus, als ob hier nicht nur 2 Welten, sondern unzählige Welten drin sind. Also es ist auch endlich mal ein Buch mit Bildern und Illustrationen. Ganz anders als die anderen Bücher, die wir alle nicht verstehen, weil sie auf Französisch sind. Und dann habe ich geschaut, aus welcher Zeit das ist. Und das ist einfach mal von 1875. Das ist fast 150 Jahre alt. Und jetzt guckt ihr mal an, wie das alles verarbeitet ist. Also ich meine, 150 Jahre ist das Buch alt, ne? Das ist alles noch so hochwertig. Ich meine, da sind ein paar Flecken drin so, aber wie cool ist denn das bitte? Mit was für einer Qualität die damals gearbeitet haben.
Und das ist ja auch nur eins von über 100 Büchern hier.
Das ist von 1667. Ich habe auch dieses Zwischenpapier hier drüber. Um die Bilder zu schützen.
Hast du eine Ahnung, worum es in dem Buch geht?
Es sieht aus wie so ein Lyrikbuch, das man in der Schule lesen muss. So, also mit so Akten und verschiedenen Szenen. Stimmt irgendein.
What was forgotten here is age-old knowledge. We wonder why all of the manor was emptied out but this room. Unfortunately, what hasn't been saved before the renovation started won't be saved at all.
Was ist das? Flexscheibe.
Scheibe von bygone.
Na, ganz normal.
Hier mischt sich Akademie mit Baustellen. Lexika, Flexscheibe, Bier, Zeitung.
Whether conservation and restoration will ever be resumed is doubtful. Hardheads and building materials testify to their last poor attempt. They didn't stop the chateau from crumbling, but made it worse. Parts of it might collapse one day, and then destroy the old library once and for all. The good news is that they are already renovating other houses on the grounds. Yet it remains unclear if the main building can be saved as well. Same applies to the cloister and its vast art treasures. As travelers in time, we can do our bit. We explore and document before it's too late. Here are some more of Toby's photos he took 2 years before our exploration. For more of his shots, pay him a visit on Instagram. The link is provided in the video description. Say hi from us. That's it for today. As mentioned earlier, days are shorter than ever before. We are about to hit the road and probably get ourselves an Airbnb for tonight. We have 2 full weeks of urbex ahead of us. Our plan is to drive north through the country and find the most fascinating forgotten structures to revive them for one last time. So, where should we travel back in time next? Write down in the comments what kind of exploration you want to see next up. Of course, our trip lies already in the past, but we have filmed all sorts of abandoned sites in France. So, do you prefer more chateaus? Maybe a church? Or how about some industry? Just let us know. Stay curious and obviously keep exploring.